One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With engines roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, man. It's a great freaking Monday morning. Great to see everyone in the chat. So this morning, obviously, we're going to be talking quite a bit. We actually have a humongous morning. We've got 15 stories to get through, and I don't even know if we're going to get through all of them. But Iran pause holds, as well as Trump, tariffs, and Seattle shooting. Now, we have a lot of details that are coming out, and a lack of details on certain stories, such as the Seattle shooting. There still is not the, one suspect has been, put in custody, but unfortunately, we don't know anything about them. We don't know their name. We don't know what they look like. We don't know shit. And I have a sneaky suspicion that they're doing that for a freaking reason. Anyways, real quick, let's go ahead and chronologically, break down what we're going to be discussing this morning. First, dangerous police chase. Suspect hits 105 miles per hour or plus. Before bailing on foot in Los Angeles. So, damn, he's out there speeding around over 100 miles per hour. Now, is he actually going to fly out of the car bailing on foot at 105 miles per hour? I highly doubt that, because you would die. Most likely anyways. Or have extreme injuries that you couldn't even move. So, obviously, during the course of him actually fleeing, he reached the speeds of 105. Anyways, then we have Trump advisor Stephen Miller. I think is it Stephen or Stephen Miller, speaks on White House Correspondents' Dinner do-over because, as you guys know, they redid the whole thing because of the quote-unquote assassination attempt last time. Actually, it's not quote-unquote. It is what it is. Then we have Trump, U.S. locked and loaded, quote-unquote, for potential massive strikes on Iran and Yemen. Now, mind you, this was on Friday, right after our show. So, just to give you a little context, because a lot of things have happened since then. So, then we have Houthi rebels fire missiles and drones at Saudi Arabia, which we saw coming, by the way. We saw that coming. I knew that there was going to be some sort of retaliation more than just the naval blockade that Yemen, the Houthi rebels did on Saudi Arabia in their strait. Then we have New York Fire Department, 21 people hurt in a 5-alarm fire. Now, I'm not really even sure what a 5-alarm fire means, but I'm sure the firemen in the chat will know. But it says a fire in New York City left 21 people hurt, including 17 firefighters. The fire happened in Flushing's, Queens. Wow, that's terrible news. Then we have regarding the Iran conflict, the Pentagon confirms Army casualty. And then we have 1 dead and 15 plus injured after a car plows into an LGBTQ plus parade and crowd in Berlin. Now, there's, like I told you guys, there's so much shit going on in the world right now. Then we have U.S. military pauses nightly Iran strikes, which that is going to lead me into the conversation of not only the thumbnail that I made this morning, but I'm also going to break down what the pause actually is and what it resembles. So I have all of that for you guys and the sources for you as well. Then we have the Russia-Ukraine war. Ukraine war says Russia wants 30,000 North Korean troops, Zelensky says. I don't think that's going to happen, my man. I'm going to be honest. Then we have Trump imposes new tariffs on dozens of countries, which is also a big part of today's title of what I put together. Then we have Trump pauses attacks on Iran amid conflict. Obviously, I already explained that a little bit to you guys. Then we have Berlin Pride attack, new details in, quote, Islamic terrorist attack. So that's what they have labeled it now. And so it looks like that it is absolutely a hate crime. Then we have Bronx shooting. Suspect kills 12-year-old outside bodega. This coming out 20 hours ago. It says New York detectives arrested the suspect in Bronx shooting that left a 12-year-old dead and 2 men hurt late Saturday afternoon. Wow, terrible stories are coming out, man. Then we're getting into now the Seattle story. This was breaking 11 hours ago. 2 dead and 5 injured after shooting near Seattle Space Needle. It says we are learning more after reports from Seattle police who say that multiple people were injured in a shooting at a Seattle center Sunday afternoon. According to the partners over there at Fox 13 Seattle, local police first confirmed the shooting around 6:30 p.m. Police have reportedly shut down the Seattle Center grounds as they investigate the area. The public has been asked to avoid the area. Early reports indicated that the area was hosting the, quote, Bite of Seattle Food Festival over the weekend. And yes, that's what happened right there. Then we have 8 hours ago, so kind of like about 3 hours after the news broke, police came out and had a little press release or whatever. So 3 people killed in Seattle Center shooting. So that's the total now. A shooting killed 3 people and wounded 4 others, including a child, during a food festival at a Seattle Center Sunday evening. 2 people died at the scene, while a third died after being taken to the hospital, according to the official update from the investigators. Police say that this one suspect was detained and 2 weapons were recovered at the scene. The shooting occurred at the annual festival called the Bite of Seattle. Okay, great. But unfortunately, they didn't let out any of the information regarding that person at all. I mean, they have him in custody. It's not like they don't know who he is. So it's very interesting because by now, usually we get some of those details that are coming out. Unfortunately, we don't. I looked it up all throughout, not only looking it up through all the different posts and different big news outlets and stuff like that, but I also went through AI, asked it everything like, has it been released anywhere? And unfortunately, no. So let me go ahead and bring up, first, before we do that, we got to do our call to actions and then get right into the madness. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. It's free to do so. And you know what else is free? Hitting that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And then, of course, we have members only on Saturday morning, man. It's a good time. Now, speaking of members, please consider becoming a member starting only at $4.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as politics, all that great shit. Listen, it's a great way to get hold of me one-on-one, and we also have a Discord server for all of you legends where I break down minute by minute details of what's going on in the war regards to Iran and the Middle East as a whole. But I break news not only of the Middle East there, I break news about everything there. So go in the video description down below, and that's where you'll find the invite link for the Discord. And last but not least, man, listen, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen at any time. You can donate to those, and I get 100% of the proceeds. And of course, listen, man, we'll shout out anything that comes our way. We're always scanning. I got my email up. Also, I got to move this camera over a little bit because I'm fucked up on the vertical side. There we go. I think my cat fucked it up. Damn it, Lucy. Anyways, all right, we're good to go. Great to see everyone in the chat, man. Always appreciate you guys. We've got a fuck ton of you guys. So make sure you guys hit that like button and also double tap that screen. Appreciate you guys. We got KP in the building as well as Naomi. Good morning to you guys. We got PJ as well as Pablo. That's right. About to rock it up in here. That's right. We got Vanguard Critters, my man. We got PJ as well. We got Easy Frank. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well. Thank you guys. We got Jamie Lindsay. Appreciate you. Good morning to you. We got Barbie as well. Good morning. We got my man Virginia Chaos. Yes, sir. We got Charlie Rose as well. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. We got Texas Gidget. Good morning. And Charlie Rose chilling with us. That's right. And make sure you guys hit that like. That's right. Facts. We got Joker as well. And Prez. Good morning to you guys. We got Carney Vanguard. Yes, sir. Good morning. Scrolling our way down, we got chatting with Stacks, my man. Good morning. We got Marco as well. And yeah, exactly. There's a reason why they're not letting that information out, my man. We got No Grow in the building. Good morning to you. We got Gary as well as Easy Frank chilling. Let's see. Oh, Mr. Al Patterson sending in 1,000 jewels, by the way. That's $10 saying cheers. Yes, sir. Well, thank you. Definitely adds up quickly. And thank you for the support to the channel, Mr. Al Patterson. Yes, sir. And yes, everybody loves Lucy. Everybody. All right, let's go ahead and pretty much get into the madness this morning. We got 15 stories to get through. So this is going to be I'm going to try to condense this as much as humanly possible because it's just a lot of information going on. Again, remember, we've got to start chronologically. So we're going to kind of start from Friday afternoonish all the way up until current time now. So that's what it's going to take for us to get all caught up.
As we have another event actually in Los Angeles to get to right now. This is actually a police chase that's currently underway.
Woo!
It's very high speed.
Look at that. He's at 121 right there, it said.
Going 120 miles an hour. Let's lift up the audio and listen in.
Oh, man.
All that. Marla, I'm going to kind of lean on you. Maybe you can
Slowing
lean on
down.
the assignment desk, get some more
speed up
information.
again.
But what I don't like is when it's changing those lanes right there, it does seem like the rear end tracking along, kind of dragging behind it, and that means that all four wheels.
Now, we're not going to watch this whole thing, obviously. We're gonna skim through, and we're not going to watch the entire chase, but we are going to get a little bit of the story here.
Might not be as solid as you'd hope, and the reason why I bring that up is because I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Whipping around a car right there. We're on a transition road. It is extreme. Northbound 5 is where we are right now, and I'm getting a little bit wider because in this spot, I'm confident I will not lose that vehicle. As I lose that vehicle, I didn't. We don't see anybody behind it. So right now, just extremely high speeds. He's not running from anybody. That, in my mind, makes us in much worse of a situation because that driver clearly has some kind of issues. And again, heavy traffic coming up, vehicle changing, using all lanes at extremely high speeds. Marla?
Okay, so we see him going, I mean, he really is driving erratic. So he gets onto another freeway, it looks like. We're going to skim through here until he gets on foot because apparently he ditches his car and bails out on foot. We're trying to find that for you guys right now.
As you pointed out, this is very close to Skid Row, of course, the epicenter.
Like he's right there in downtown LA right now.
Homeless crisis. And interestingly enough, we just heard from the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority today about an increase, a slight increase, still an increase of homelessness in both the city and the county. But getting back to this pursuit at hand in the downtown Los Angeles area, Stu,
So far, I don't even know why this person's running. I don't know why he's doing this. I don't know the intention yet.
No one's tracking down below. The airship is up. We're also, we also understand that there is at least one passenger inside.
Whoa!
Oh,
Whoa!
My goodness, that pedestrian right there.
That was a pedestrian.
There
Almost
definitely could be somebody inside there. And I was just going to say, in downtown, even at regular safe speeds, you just don't know what's going to pop out in between any of these parked cars and or on.
Could be cars, could be humans, could be kids, could be pets.
Any of these streets, and this is one of the people that you'd expect.
I mean, you're in downtown LA near Skid Row. I mean, there's people just flooded on the street.
Downtown area. That's the reason why you drive cautiously.
And animals.
There's that little bit of a fishtail again. That always kind of worries me. Oh, really close right there. You know, you got to think that guy in the blue car, green light, doing what he's supposed to do, and then boop, there's this car running that light right in front of him, slowing down again, wrong side of the road.
Mr. Jack Telcott, good morning and blessings to you, kind sir. Great to see you in the chat and happy start to your week.
Back into putting his foot into it, and it just continues on.
That's right,
here.
KP.
Let's take a peek a little bit. Let's get ahead of it a little bit and see what's ahead.
Slide it,
got another
and then we'll skip ahead.
Oh, no, that was a close one again, but it's still moving along. Look, you got the people out there. We're in the downtown area. You got people out there with the flags trying to flag you in for parking, and this guy bailing. Look at that, back doors popping open.
Oh yeah,
both doors are.
They're about to get out. Yep, here it is.
They're out.
Two guys bailing out.
Running. You got three guys in hoodies that we saw. We're going to stay a little bit wider, but again, there's one of them.
And you just saw the airship go down below LAPD.
They're coming out. There they are. Oh yeah, let's stay
all
together.
three of them.
That won't look suspicious at all.
Nope.
There
Break
you go.
up.
But one of them, I'm going to stay with the guy that's got the bag. I'm going to stay with the guy that's got the bag. Dylan, he's underneath the awning right there. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, come on. Don't lose him. Still, where did he go?
Well, I'm not sure if those
lot
are
of buildings
down below, but nonetheless got caught up in this pursuit. So we just saw that white Jeep Cherokee come to a stop. Three people, looked to be men in hooded sweatshirts, got out, made a run for it on the ground. And now let's hope that there aren't any innocent bystanders that are hurt in any way or dragged into this. Authorities haven't seen any.
What's up, Warlander? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat.
Black and whites pull up just yet.
Westbound along the street. Hang on. Yeah, right where we are, they're still apparently going westbound.
There we go. There we are seeing LAPD out there.
Definitely, but where they are, that's the big question. LAPD is the helicopter still above it, and they are looking, also making calls, trying to keep an eye on it. But look at the pedestrians down there, their attitudes, how they're kind of backing away from that area. It makes me think that it's
yeah, they're like, fuck no, I don't want to be involved in any of this shit. I mean, trust me. If you're from downtown LA and you get a whole bunch of cops running towards people, you know that there might be a shooting that goes down right there. So you might want to get the fuck out of the way.
Somebody right there. Like you said, there were three of them. I made the bad choice. I'm sorry. I stayed with the guy with the bag because I figured that would be the guy with whatever they stole. Right now, though, more LAPD making their way to this area. It's going to become a perimeter. They're going to start doing a search. We'll stay for a little bit, but you got a lot of people pointing, and that's always a big plus. But who they are, where they are, that's going to be that's going to be tough. Even for LAPD, it's like where these guys go, they were going to have to rely on witnesses pointing out directions. And again,
man, and trust me, it's easy to get lost in the fucking city. Just go into one of these humongous buildings and start hiding somewhere, and
saw that LAPD airship underneath us there earlier on, doing those hard turns down low. I'd pay to be in for a ride like that. There he is right there. And you can see other people kind of keeping up with the officers, probably wanting to see what's going on or if they're going to catch this guy. Got officers running. Oh, it's a hot day too. And these guys are all in their gear. But again, Marla, for us, they probably have.
It's a hot day.
Pretty much
Listen to that guy.
But look, these guys are like pointing them out.
So these are
basically calling them out, saying
these are just civilians on the street.
Okay, so let's go ahead and skip ahead and see if they end up finding anybody here. Oh, looks like they got someone in custody right there. Let's figure out who this person is.
Anyway, probably about 10 minutes. So looks to be a young man there.
Looks like an Edgar right there.
And it's going to be interesting to see. A lot of times we see folks get away, but in this situation, we know that at least one is in custody, two outstanding. And when I say a lot of times we see folks get away, that's when they go to a parking structure. We've seen that happen a number of times, and it makes it difficult.
It's very, very easy to get lost in parking structures, buildings, all this shit.
Fine, but there is that Jeep we are zeroing in on, and they have obviously checked it.
Damn, there was a guy that came out of the trunk, flying out of the trunk.
Other suspects are in it, so we saw 3 and 2 remain outstanding, Stu.
What's up, Miss Lotus? Good morning and happy start to the week.
Yeah, definitely. And just, I know we're on the internet, so it can be a little bit looser. That definitely is a V8. That's an SRT Jeep Grand Cherokee. And again, probably like the 2020s is about the year of that vehicle. Very powerful.
No, this guy looks Mexican. The first guy that we saw looks like a Mexican.
Indeed. If it was stolen.
And the reason why they were going after these guys as well is we couldn't figure it out earlier, but it shows right there at the bottom. Police search for 2 police chases, robbery suspects, I guess. So I guess they robbed something, whether it be a car or whatever.
They have a registered owner that they can track back to and possibly take somebody into custody if they don't do it this afternoon.
So they're talking about the car right now. If it wasn't stolen, they could track it down to who that person actually was. Let's skip ahead here. It looks like they got somebody else here in custody. Let's see who this might be. Let's hear what they're saying.
If they, I couldn't see. That's what I'm trying to get at. I can't say if that is the suspect or not the suspect, but definitely taking somebody else into custody right now at a corner of Santee and 11th. And again, like I said, these guys seem to have it together, meaning, maybe they were wearing that all black with the idea that we could peel off clothing as we go, if it came to that. So maybe this is a suspect. It definitely is.
Well, that's the interesting thing is when they did come flying out, they were all blacked out. And then I'm sure that they shedded some of that top layers so that they're not actually looking for the same thing, but looks like they've got 3 people in custody right at that time.
Assume that these are the 3 that we saw foot bail. We haven't gotten that confirmed just yet, but it looks like just by the demeanor of all of these officers.
Now that guy is absolutely black right there.
They have them all in custody. So
it kind of looked like,
thank you so much.
It kind of looked like 2 Mexicans and a black guy. That's kind of what it looked like, but it could have been 1 Mexican and 2 black guys. Who knows? Whatever. It's irrelevant. They fucking jacking motherfuckers out here. All right, we got Trump advisor Stephen Miller speaks on White House Correspondents' Dinner do-over. As you guys know, that they did the do-over because the last time Trump got there was assassination attempt. So let's go ahead and figure out a little bit. We're going to skim through this. We're not going to stay long on this at all. We got way too many stories to get caught up on this, so
we are going to pull out of this right now because we do have Stephen Miller speaking outside of the White House right now.
Stephen, I couldn't remember if it's Stephen or Stephen. So
dressed up just for you. Asking you about the Saudi deal that you were just talking about on Fox. Why did the president have it released the day after it had been announced? Why wasn't that announced as part of the deal by Chris Wright? Is it a way to block Saudi Arabia in?
Can't hear the question.
The president probably already answered the questions on this. So I'll just, it might be unsatisfying to you, so I pre-apologize. But the president has been very clear with Saudi Arabia since not just this term, but going back. His expectation is time.
Man, why is the audio such dog shit? Let's go ahead and speed them up a little bit.
Lines and commitments on their normalization of relations with Israel and are entering the Abraham Accords. And the president, better than any American alive, understands the psychology of the kingdom, the players in the kingdom, and what that relationship looks like. So when you think about, I'll just say this, when you think about where Saudi Arabia is today, going back to the Riyadh speech in 2017, and leaning on them to be a bulwark against violent terror.
I'm going to be honest, I can't stand this fucking guy. We're moving on. I just can't stand him. Let's go into U.S. locked and loaded, quote unquote, for potential massive strikes on Yemen and Iran. So this coming out obviously around Friday evening. Now, there's been a lot of developments since then. So we'll hear the top of what the main story is that they were trying to present here first. And then we'll go ahead and continue because we got a lot of things going on in the Middle East, including, there's brand new attacks that are escalate tensions, target Saudi oil facilities that are coming out just as of 45 minutes ago. There's a lot of things going on between Yemen and the Saudis. So we'll figure out what this is being talked about, what they're discussing here, what the report is.
This is a live look here
Quickly.
At a map courtesy of marine traffic. This shows you the ship movement in the Strait of Hormuz, or perhaps the lack thereof, as President Trump yesterday vowing major military punishment for Tehran and its Houthi allies in Yemen after the Houthis said they had struck 2 Saudi tankers in the Red Sea on Thursday. Now, the Houthis have declared a naval blockade.
Yes, and I did see those reports when it was breaking. I think it was happening on Friday, right after the show. As soon as we finished up the show, I saw that there was 3 other vessels that were targeted.
Of Saudi Arabia. The kingdom has been diverting millions of barrels of oil by pipeline each day to the Red Sea to skirt Iran's near total blockade of the Strait of Hormuz on the Gulf. The Saudi-led coalition has been fighting the Houthis in Yemen and said that it's...
Real quick before we continue on with this, what they're specifically talking about in their response with the a different strait, they're not talking about the Strait of Hormuz on that. It's because there is the blockade that you guys know up here on the Strait of Hormuz, but another major waterway, international waterway, is right here, just a little bit southwest down here in Yemen, or by Yemen anyways. There is the Bab al-Mandab Strait or whatever. So this strait is, there was a naval blockade put on from the Yemen Houthi rebels against only Saudi Arabia, their northern neighbors here. And the reason why they did that in the first place is because Saudi Arabia attacked a Yemen Houthi rebels airport, one of their main airports up here. And so when they did that, they bombed the shit out of their tarmac and everything. So the Yemen Houthi rebels, what their response to that was going to be, the immediate thing was there was a naval blockade on just Saudi Arabia alone to go through here. And that's what they're specifically talking about on that video real quick. So let's go back to that. That's what they were discussing. Here we go.
Struck Houthi military sites in recent days after attacks on the Saudi tankers. Now, this also comes as the U.S. military had launched airstrikes on Iran late on Thursday and early on Friday, the 13th consecutive night of attacks. There have been no reports of fresh U.S. strikes today so far. 2 weeks after the collapse of an interim truce meant to end the war, Iranian armed forces had responded by firing at U.S. bases in neighboring...
See, my man Virginia Chaos knows the deal. I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the channel by just hitting the like button, guys. Double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. There's a lot of chaos going on in the world. You don't have to like it for that reason, but you guys can like it for me and what we're doing here on Insane Wheels. So thank you for that.
Arab countries on Friday and warning that they could strike non-military buildings they're used by U.S. personnel. This also comes as the U.S. said yesterday that it fired on another merchant vessel that was trying to breach its blockade of Iran.
So I think they're discussing what was going on Thursday night as well into Friday morning.
Ports, while the Islamic Republic targeted American strongholds across the Persian region. To talk more on this, we are joined by John Hanna from...
We don't need that. We don't need people coming in and discussing about shit that we already know and what I'm breaking down for you guys anyways. All right. We got to move on. We got Houthi rebels fire missiles and drones at Saudi Arabia. Now, I told you guys at the top of the hour here, that was something that I expected, actually. I knew that there was going to be some sort of bigger retaliation than just a naval blockade against Saudi Arabia. So let's go ahead and figure this out together. But first, let's go ahead and do the money part. We haven't done the money part.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Now, those are actual factuals, ladies and gentlemen, so feels good to be a G.
Denied.
But I still love you guys. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and bring this up. Actually, I don't even have it up yet. What the fuck? Here we go. Give me a second. Boom.
You're watching live now from Fox as we're following some breaking news coming in here out of the Middle East and taking you out to this live look here. This is courtesy of marine traffic.
There's the Al Mandab Strait right there.
This is a live look
and
right
you can
now.
see how the traffic is, I mean, it's moving just as normal. This is what normal traffic looks like through this strait.
The Bab al-Mandeb Strait ship tracker. As we're learning, Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels said today that they fired missiles and drones at Saudi Arabia in response to Saudi airstrikes on a strategic Red Sea city in another escalation over vital shipping routes in the Middle East, where the United States and Iran are fighting for control over the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the Houthis' military spokesman said in a pre-recorded statement that the attack targeted facilities in two Red Sea cities that belong to Aramco, which is the world's largest oil company. Saudi Arabia's civil defense said alerts sounded multiple times early today in both cities, but the kingdom hasn't commented any further. So as we're following this breaking news, we're also learning here that there were no reported strikes overnight in Iran in this break from nearly 2 weeks of consecutive nights of U.S. attacks, though tension remains high following a recent escalation between the two countries over the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this rising tension in the Red Sea is threatening to further choke global shipping because the rebels have said they would close the strait to Saudi-linked shipping. Now,
but not only that, the Houthis have threatened during this Iran war in the somewhat past, saying that, hey, that they're going to threaten to shut down this strait too if necessary, which if that does happen, listen, man, this is a main artery that goes up to Europe right here. It's a very, very needed waterway to be open.
That strait at the southern tip of the Arabian Peninsula is a vital shipping choke point connecting the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden.
Right.
Around 12% of the world's trade, including a quarter of its container traffic, passes through the Narrows. Now, the Houthis targeted 2 Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea this week. In response, Saudi Arabia struck a port in Yemen, the Saudi-led coalition in Yemen confirming that today. And the strikes late Friday, last night, hit the city's port and the state-run
What's up, Extra Surprise? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, Baker.
Nations Corporation, injuring 2 people. Now, the Saudi-led coalition fighting in Yemen said it didn't hit the port, but struck legitimate military targets, which were linked to threats to commercial vessels in the Red Sea. Iran's foreign minister called for diplomacy and dialogue to solve the Yemen conflict without military confrontations. In an interview that was published today in a state-run Iran newspaper, also the Associated Press reporting this here as well, U.S. Central Command didn't immediately respond to a request for comment there from the Associated Press. However, unlike the previous 13 nights, it also didn't announce new strikes. So we are following.
Right. Okay. I wanted to hear that last word she was going to use right there. All right. So we've got some interesting developments that's happening in New York. New York City has been, in New York in general right now has been a hot thing in the news for the last 2.5 weeks. It's actually kind of crazy the amount of chaos that's going on in New York City. But nonetheless, this may not be directly in the city, but this is actually in Flushing's, Queens. So it says New York Fire Department provides update on a 5-alarm fire. It says a fire in New York City. I guess it is in the city. I guess it's all considered the city, whatever. The different boroughs left 21 people hurt, including 17 firefighters. Damn, bro. That's sad news. I hate to hear shit like that. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up and figure out what's going on here.
This building is a 2-story wood frame building.
Now, I think this happened on Saturday morning or Saturday, I think.
Upon arrival, we had 2 buildings fully involved with extension to a 3rd building.
Yeah, it looks like it happened on Saturday.
Our engine companies moved in with multiple hand lines in all of these buildings very aggressively, very deliberately. Many, many lives are saved by the proper positioning of hose lines. We had a report of people trapped in this building.
What's up, Bill Castle? Good morning.
Were able to get above the fire on the 2nd floor of the main fire building without the protection of a hose line, under high heat and 0 visibility. They perform searches. We practice and drill on this constantly. And they were able to rescue an occupant on the 2nd floor. Additional firefighters helped remove that occupant. We handed the occupant over to EMS with a treaty.
Honestly, thank God for firefighters, man. I mean, awesome what they do. They run into straight chaos, running into fire and shit. I mean, dude, that's just awesome.
And then transported to an area hospital. We have a total of 21 injuries. We have 17 firefighter injuries, 2 EMS injuries. These are all non-life threatening injuries.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
We also have 2 injuries to the occupants of the building that were taken to area hospitals. We want to thank the staff at all of these hospitals for taking care of our personnel. There's heavy damage within these buildings. A lot of the families are displaced. They're staying with.
I would like to see what the actual end result of this fire was.
Other family members. We also have the American Red Cross on scene to take care of others. This went to a 5th alarm. 5th alarm, we use over 250 firefighters and EMS personnel to bring this under control. And this fire is under control. As far as the cause, we're still investigating the cause of this fire. We will maintain a presence on the scene here until it's fully under control. Maintain a presence for quite some time. At this time, I'll take any questions you may have.
Well, we'll allow a couple of questions if they're decent, but then we got to move on.
We're still looking at those numbers right now. We have approximately 10 to 12 displaced, and we're still trying to clarify those final numbers. We're working with the American Red Cross on that.
What's up, Provoke? Good morning.
Firefighting is extremely challenging. It's physically demanding. We have to, hence the 5th alarm, for proper relief of our members. This building here, these buildings, so this row 5, they're almost 100 years old. They're 96 years old. They were built in 1930. So they're all wood frame buildings. The walls are wood.
Yeah, unfortunately, a fire erupted in specifically Flushing's, Queens, and it says a fire in New York City left 21 people hurt, including 17 firefighters.
The floors are wood. The roof is also made of wood. So fire travels very, very rapidly. Very difficult for us to get ahead of these fires and extinguish.
The injuries to those 17 firefighters, do you know what the nature is? Is it smoke inhalation or other issues?
A combination, heat exhaustion, smoke inhalation, minor sprains and strains, but I want to stress they're all non-life threatening injuries.
That's good, and thank God for that.
The individual who was rescued, their condition?
I'm going to pass it over to Chief Scanlon from EMS.
That's a good question. The person that they rescued on the 2nd floor, what's their condition now?
I'm Chief Stacy Scanlon. The individuals that were rescued was 1 in serious condition, brought to a local hospital, and 1 non-serious condition.
What kind of serious condition, though?
Yeah, he will be visiting later today, yes.
He's talking about Mayor Mamdani if he's going to, guess go and visit. All right, we're going to move on. We got to. Iran conflict, Pentagon confirms Army casualty. First, before we get into that, let's go ahead and all embrace our fuck ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
We shall always embrace the process here at Insane Wheels. All right, let's go and bring this up, figure out what the hell's going on here. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. I'm Ryan Schmelz. We do have some breaking news to get to here, which is that the United States has confirmed the identity of one of the service members who was killed in recent attacks by Iran. We reported on her name last week, but now we have confirmation from the U.S. government surrounding that, saying this.
We already know this. We already know her and the two others. We have the identity. Now, they're coming out with a more detailed of who she is and what her positions and all of that stuff is, which is good, but there's two other men.
Statement. The Department of War has confirmed the identity of an active duty soldier who was killed in action supporting overseas operations in Jordan. Following positive identification by the Armed Forces Medical Examiner System, Staff Sergeant Angel Rampersad, 28 years old, of Ozona Park, New York, died on July 17, 2026 during an enemy attack at an Air Force base in Jordan. The incident remains under investigation. Staff Sergeant Rampersad was assigned to 1st Battalion, 57th Air Defense Artillery Regiment, 52nd Air Defense Artillery Brigade, 10th Army Air and Missile Defense Command in Germany.
Wow.
And this is now like we...
All right. So, unfortunately, now here's the two... oh, no. Okay, so it is... I thought that these were the same girl. Okay. So this makes sense. That this is the fourth. Okay. So originally they came out and everyone saw her picture. Isabella Gonzalez. That's right. I remember her name now. And then these two, they really haven't done like a super detailed, like that. But as far as I've seen, but now the all four of them have been identified, which is good. I'm glad that I got that straight and didn't just end it there, before we saw that. Okay, so those are the four right there. Let's go ahead and get into, now it's saying 1 dead plus 15 plus injured after car plows into an LGBTQ plus parade crowd in Berlin. Damn. All right, let's go ahead and figure out what the hell's going on here. And there's a lot of chaos going on
live
right
now from Fox, but we do want to bring you some breaking news right now. This news coming out of Germany, putting this up on your screen, coming from Reuters. Berlin Pride Parade called off after car hits crowds, according to police. We also have this coming in from the police department there in Germany, saying, update, we are currently deployed with numerous police forces as well as rescue units from the Berlin Fire Department in the Tiergarten. That's a park there in Germany. It is suspected that a vehicle has driven into the...
What's up, brother? So loud. Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
Tiergarten here has struck and injured several people. The injured are currently being treated by rescue personnel. We are conducting an intensive manhunt for the suspects. This also coming from the police department. Update, shortly before 10 p.m., the driver of a white vehicle is said to have struck several people there in the Tiergarten area. There are numerous injured, including several with life-threatening injuries. The manhunt for one or more suspects is underway.
Yeah, Joker. Yeah, because unfortunately, you guys up there in Canada, you guys don't even have like Cash App and shit, right? Like they don't allow you guys to use it. But yeah, PayPal is the greatest alternative for that. Like I'll have people from Canada or from any other country, they'll send it on PayPal, and it's they do the conversion and everything. It's great.
Full throttle, more information to follow. Now, the latest update that we have received in our newsroom is that one person is dead, 15 plus are injured. We actually have a live feed coming into our newsroom of that scene there in the Berlin area. And I wanted to go a little bit more in depth and explain to you what all led up to this manhunt that is currently underway and that very active scene that you see on your screen. They're coming out of Germany.
What's up, brother? So loud, or so loud. We just said hi. So loud, sick bastard, my man. Look. So we got right now what this whole story is: 1 dead, 15 plus injured after car drives into an LGBTQ plus parade crowd in Berlin. Now let's see if there's any more details on this. No, there isn't, unfortunately.
A car
Damn it.
drove into a crowd during Berlin's famed LGBTQ plus parade on Saturday, killing one person and injuring at least 15 others, prompting police to call off that event in the German capital just hours after it had started. The Associated Press goes on to report that police said some of the victims
What's up, Timothy? Shout out to Athens.
Did have life-threatening injuries. Firefighters and ambulances were out with many emergency staffers at the scene to attend to the victims. In a post on X, police called on everybody to leave the premises of that event immediately. According to police, a car had driven into the Tiergarten Park near the route of that Pride March, hitting several people. Police did not know how many officers had been deployed to that scene, but that it was, quote, definitely a lot of police. They said that they were searching for suspects. Once again, we did hear from the Berlin police on their X account saying that manhunt is currently underway. Hundreds of thousands of people had come to Berlin on Saturday to celebrate at Berlin's Pride Parade, known in Germany as Christopher Street Day. This is one of Europe's largest LGBTQ plus celebrations. The Pride event in front of the city's iconic gate in downtown was called off around 10.
Everybody will just celebrate anything. It's crazy.
15 p.m. and the band's performance on stage was interrupted, and people once again urged to go home and avoid taking the route through the park there. Before that incident, people had celebrated peacefully, marching through the city for hours and dancing to loud music and cheering around the 80 floats that participated in that parade. So once again, officials confirming that 1 dead, 15 plus injured, with some of them potentially having life-threatening injuries. Once again, a live look on your screen there at that scene in the Berlin area as the manhunt is currently underway. You can see that white tent set up there to the right-hand corner of your screen with a lot of officials on scene, and it looks like...
Yeah, it sucks. All right, so we're going to move on. First, we're going to get into now, we're getting more closer to current time right now. So U.S. military pauses nightly Iran strikes. Now, I'm going to go ahead and allow this front monologue to go first, and then I'll read out loud the sources and everything. I'll even show you guys all that and why these U.S. strikes are remain paused, like what is happening in regards to this. But first, also, we need you guys to obey.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
That is the best propaganda you guys are going to get all day. That's my promise. All right. Great to see you in the chat, GEG. Great to see you, my man. Good morning to you on the West Coast. All right, let's go and bring this up, and then we'll read why these pauses are happening.
The United States military posting this video today saying the U.S. naval blockade against Iran remains in full effect. They say, as of July 25th, CENTCOM has redirected 12 commercial vessels trying to run the blockade, also disabled 2 that didn't comply. They boarded another 2 in order to ensure total compliance, they say. Iran reported no U.S. strikes overnight. Meanwhile, President Trump reportedly ordered the U.S. military not to conduct attacks on Friday, according to Axios. This broke a 13-night streak of nightly strikes. Despite a quieter past 24 hours, though, the United States has gradually expanded the scope of its attacks against Iran in recent weeks. We, of course, saw President Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner talking late last night. He was talking about some of the objectives in the war and some of the progress from the administration's standpoint. President Trump says that he is weighing a massive attack on Iran. As the Wall Street Journal says, the U.S. is surging forces toward the region in order to give Trump options to expand the war. And according to Reuters, recent Iranian drone attacks on CIA facilities in the Gulf is making some question whether Russia is assisting the Iranians by providing targeting information. Graham Slattery is here. He's a White House correspondent in Washington, focusing on national security, intelligence, and foreign affairs. Firstly, Graham, what's our level of knowledge about why the U.S. didn't strike last night?
Well, we can make a good inference.
What's up, Charlie? Good morning to you, by the way.
Essentially, what we do know from our sourcing and from some of the reporting you referenced is that there was a fairly high-level meeting at the White House involving President Trump on Friday to discuss options. Essentially, it was decided at that point, at least.
I'm not sure who just talked to him like that in the background.
For now, not to hold off on a major expansion of operations for a number of reasons. And one of the concerns is a lack of missile interceptors in the region. So in that context, I think this reprieve makes a little bit of sense. That's the context.
Okay, well, he doesn't really have the context. I have the context. Let's see if there's any other breaking things that were shown or like posts that was happening here. See, Graham Slattery says something. There's a scoop here.
Drone attacks on CIA facilities in the Gulf have prompted the U.S. to investigate whether Russia is providing targeting information. I don't believe, Graham, that it's completely news to us that the Russians might be aiding the Iranians in some shape or form with this conflict.
So this guy that he's speaking to is Graham.
But specifically with this report, what did you learn U.S. officials are looking into?
So he's actually a reporter from Reuters, so that holds a little bit more water.
Right. So multiple CIA facilities, and obviously their locations are clandestine, but per our sourcing, multiple CIA facilities in the Middle East have been attacked by Iranian drones during this war. There was one in the Saudi capital, Riyadh, one in eastern Iraq. We believe there might be others. And what CIA analysts are looking at in particular is whether these strikes on CIA facilities were aided by Russia. We know that Russia has been aiding Iran generally, but this would obviously be a very serious provocation to actually be helping.
Now they're talking about in the region over there in obviously the Middle East. Okay, so real quick, let me go ahead and bring this up for you guys. I'm going to read out loud and show you guys what each source is, because it shows it on each and every one of them, of course. So the biggest development is what didn't happen. After nearly 2 weeks of renewed fighting, the U.S. and Iran have both paused major strikes for roughly 2 or 3 days, while indirect diplomatic talks continue. That pause appears to be holding for now, but officials on both sides are warning that it could end quickly, and that's being reported by Reuters and a couple of others. And then we have U.S. strikes remain paused. President Trump has continued the pause in major U.S. bombing operations. According to multiple reports, military leaders recommended the pause after concerns that many planned targets had already been hit and that diplomacy deserved another opportunity. And that's coming from The Guardian. Then Reuters then says, Iran says it will not strike for now. Iran publicly stated that it will halt retaliatory attacks as long as the United States does not resume bombing. However, Iran has also warned that if United States strikes restart, it is prepared to immediately resume military operations. That's coming from Reuters. Then we have diplomacy is back underway, coming out from the Associated Press. Behind the scenes, Oman continues acting as a mediator. Qatar and Pakistan are also involved in diplomatic efforts, and negotiations are focused on reducing tensions and finding a workable arrangement for shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, of course. So we already know that, Strait of Hormuz is a key point here. That's their leverage that Iran's got. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into now a little bit of Russia-Ukraine. So regarding the Ukraine war, Russia wants 30,000 more North Korean troops, Zelensky says. So let's go and figure what's happening here on this report. Moving our attention over to Russia-Ukraine now.
Okay, here are videos.
Briefly, before we get back into Trump, and also, let's see, the next stories are Trump imposes new tariffs on dozens of countries, as well as Trump positive attacks on Iran amid conflict, which we already know. I just told you about. Then we have a little bit of update on the Berlin Pride attack that happened. We have new details in as quote-unquote Islamic terrorist attack. So I guess they are labeling it as a hate crime. And then we have Bronx shooting. Suspect kills 12-year-old outside a bodega. Then we have the update on the, not really, the latest information from last night of the Seattle shooting. Unfortunately, we don't have more information than. So they're showing 2 dead, 5 injured after shooting near Seattle Space Needle. We got a lot going on here.
Posted from President Zelensky's account showing long-range strikes on Russia. President Trump and Zelensky.
Charlie asked actually a pretty decent question, and it does to an extent. But Charlie, all that Trump really has to do is stop that operation and then rename the operation as something else, and then it restarts the clock for 60 days. So it really doesn't hold that much water. I mean, it gives a showing like, hey, we're not fully with you on this. But does it actually hold water? Like it's going to prevent him from doing what he wants? No. Anyways,
are scheduled to meet in Washington on Tuesday, and Ukrainians and U.S. officials have been discussing a proposal for an air ceasefire. That's a new idea. We'll get to that in a moment. That air ceasefire proposal is reportedly going to be taken to Russian officials eventually. Meanwhile, Secretary Rubio met with his Russian counterpart this week, and Zelensky is saying that Russia wants another 30,000 troops from North Korea. Right-wing influencer Laura Loomer also visiting Ukraine and changing her tune on the war. There's so much to discuss as far as the Russia-Ukraine conflict goes this week.
I want to see directly what Zelensky is talking about with these 30,000 North Korean troops. I need to see this shit.
Retired Marine Intelligence Officer, national security analyst, and the host of the...
Oh, W. They brought in the best of the best for this conversation. I'm glad. Bring up Hal Kempfer.
Podcast. Hal Kempfer is here with me. Let's start with the notion of an air ceasefire. Hal, what exactly would an air ceasefire entail, and how significant would that be in the...
I'm not really interested in that because I know that there is a little bit of discussion on that, and I'm sure that that probably won't actually happen, where there's no drone activity and blah, blah, blah. Here's what Zelensky, though. I want to hear the actual questions directed to Hal, again, what Zelensky posted. Here it goes.
Attack here in the U.S., that would have a big effect on everyone here. That's the same thing that's happening over in Russia.
Let's talk about the North Korea piece of things. Russia wants to receive another 30,000 troops from North Korea, according to President Zelensky. He says since June, preparations have been underway in Russia's Voronezh region to receive them. North Korea is also preparing to transfer additional launchers for ballistic missiles to Russia. This is a threat not only to Ukraine. Russia is helping North Korea learn how to wage war, improve its weapons, and gain real combat experience in using them. All of this is a threat to everyone in Asia who is within range of North Korean missiles, Zelensky says. Hal, this wouldn't be the first time North Koreans would be on the battlefield. Remind us, what did they do last time?
Well, last time they supposedly were in a support role, but they went right into the battlefield, and they took phenomenal casualties. Some of the units had 100% casualties. Now, a handful, I do mean a handful of North Koreans were captured, and Kim Jong-un put out a dictate that said if you were captured, you weren't fighting hard enough, and that North Korea would prisoner or kill your family if you were taken prisoner. That's
God damn. Holy shit, bro.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Kim Jong-un is fucking crazy.
Fighting hard enough, and that North Korea would imprison or kill your family if you were taken prisoner. That's pretty draconian, as you can well imagine. I'm sure the new group coming in would have that same order hanging over their head. Says if you get taken prisoner, we will go after your family in North Korea. So that's pretty heavy going in. Why are they doing it? Because Russia can't recruit enough soldiers. They're just short. There's no way they can get enough soldiers to replace the number of soldiers they're losing. So when I look at 30,000, I go, yeah, that number kind of makes sense to me, because there is a difference between the number of soldiers that Russia is losing compared to what they can recruit, and 30,000 buys them a certain amount of time. So I can see where they're doing that. The other thing is that Kim Jong-un is able to get an infusion of Russian technology, assistance, in some cases capital, to help with the North Korean economy, help rebuild help build up his military forces, particularly his dilapidated conventional military forces. So there's a lot for Kim Jong-un to do with this. The question is, would this trigger a change in South Korea? One of the ongoing questions of the entire war is, would South Korea ever get to a point where they change their constitution to allow them to send ammunition and weapons to Ukraine? There's been a lot of reports that they've done it indirectly, but they have a tremendous amount of munitions. They have some absolutely outstanding weaponry, equipment, military equipment that they could send. So that would be the question is, will this change that? That's something I'm going to be watching for.
Damn. And I'm definitely going to be watching what Hal, he has his own YouTube, and I follow him over there as well. And I'm also in contact with him on Messenger or whatever. We go back and forth and talk a little bit. He actually sends me anytime he does a new update, he sends it to me, which is nice of him. Anyways, here we go.
We do, Hal. Right-wing influencer Laura Loomer interviewed Zelensky this week. It was surprising because she's previously...
I'm surprised that I didn't see this interview. Oh, wait, I think I did see a clip from this on social media.
Minimized
somewhere.
Russia's invasion. She's also boosted Russian propaganda in the past. Loomer visited Ukraine. She met Zelensky. She met other leaders. She met residents in Ukraine. She also visited a mass grave, and she says multiple times that she has experienced the emergency sirens in the country as well. She now says, quote, over time, more and more people will feel safe to admit that they fell for Russian propaganda. Hal, what do you make of Laura Loomer's turnaround, and what is there to learn from her experience?
Well, obviously, she's had a bit of a falling out with President Trump, no longer as close as they used to be. And I do find it interesting. But, she's going over there, and she had this, I would say, 180 compared to where she was before. But she wasn't just conciliatory Russia. She was parroting Russian talking points. She was basically saying the same thing that.
Yeah, you know, are we surprised that we got flip-floppers out here? Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Of course not. So let's go ahead and move on. We're not going to get stuck on that. Now we have this coming out yesterday. It looks like it came out yesterday, if not Saturday night, super late. But nonetheless, Trump imposes new tariffs on dozens of countries. Now, we also reported on Friday, I believe, where we were reporting what Trump was doing in the regards to, well, we were talking about as well as Canada being tariff 50% on the shit. And we kind of talked about the lead up to that. So for some reason, I thought I shared the screen, but I did not. Let's go ahead and bring this up. Sorry. Here we go.
56 in the morning on the West Coast. My name is Karala Hara, and we
So
are
it
still
was-
following some of the major news stories.
It was Sunday morning.
From this week, let's take a live look at the White House over in Washington, D.C., and talk about the latest tariffs that have been imposed by the Trump administration. So the AP saying this, that the Trump admin had imposed double-digit tariffs on more than 60 countries using a legal justification that permits the president to levy import taxes and other sanctions against countries found to engage in, quote, unjustifiable, unreasonable, or discriminatory trade practices. The new tariffs announced in recent days take effect just as temporary 10% worldwide tariffs expired. Now, the tariffs were levied on countries that the U.S. says either don't have or don't effectively enforce.
What's up, Dragon Classy? Good morning to you, by the way. Happy Monday.
Forced labor import ban. The affected countries, which account for 99% of U.S. imports, were quick to protest, calling the Trump administration's claims unfounded and arbitrary. Now, the U.S. spent 4 months investigating, but gave few details on how it arrived at the tariff rates, which are either 10 or 12.5%.
Now, what I would like to know is the list of the countries. But it says President Donald Trump is going ahead with new double-digit tariffs on dozens of U.S. trading partners just as the clock runs out on Friday on stopgap levies he imposed after a stinging defeat at the Supreme Court.
There's a lot to get to here. More importantly, though, is how is this going to be impacting the average American consumer and companies here in the U.S.? Joining us next to talk all about this is John D.
Well, unfortunately, you know, tariffs can be good in a certain way, but it also, who does it hurt directly? Well, I mean, it all boils down to the consumer, and that would be us. So we do end up taking a little bit of the slack, of course.
He is the managing director of capital markets at the Post Oak Group. John, good morning. Good to see you.
Karel, good morning. It's great to see you.
All right, let's get down to the basics here. We have heard about Trump tariffs for several months now. They've been imposed on countries. You know, they've gone up in percentages. They've gone down in percentages. Let's talk about the recent ones.
Always appreciate you, Easy Frank. Be safe out there.
Though. What are the biggest takeaways from these tariffs? What stick out to you?
Well, Karel, it's an interesting situation. To some degree, what's fascinating me with this is that it's unprecedented historically. I've sort of been looking for historical precedent to see what likely outcomes might be. But Reagan's tariffs in the 80s and the effects on the automobile industry kind of come to mind. But fascinatingly, I just don't think that there's really a strong precedent to guide us in terms of where this is likely to go, or at least in terms of what specifically is going to be affected. But I mean, I think generally speaking, these tariffs are probably going to lead to higher prices, at least in the short term.
Of course.
But to the degree that we have.
Yeah. Let's go and see if they actually show the list of countries. That's what I really care about. Says this being reported from Live Now, actually, 2 lawsuits filed by small businesses are looking to overturn recent tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. Interesting. I'm sure that there's going to be lawsuits flying around all over the place right now. Damn, there is no list where I would have to look up the list. I'll look up the list right now. But first, let's get into a little bit of an update. We have a couple of updates, actually, on a few things. So we're not going to go into this one because no need. We already went through that. But we do have an update on Berlin Pride attack, new details in Islamic terrorist attack, they're calling it now. So this is regards to that LGBTQ Berlin Pride thing that they were having. And there was a guy that drove a car through and killed, I forget how many people. If it's one person, it says German police are searching for a 21-year-old Abdul Ballout for allegedly acting out of Islamist extremism. He remains on the run at this time. One person was killed and 20 others were hurt in a deadly van and machete attack. What? Oh my fucking God. Crazy. So these are the new details coming out on this.
We are continuing to follow developments in breaking news after a fatal attack happened at the Berlin Pride Parade. And I did want to share this with you right here. This is from the Associated Press saying that the fatal attack at the Berlin Pride Parade is believed to be an Islamic extremist terror. That's according to Germany's interior minister right here. And we also have a live look of the ongoing investigation here. This is a live look from Berlin. A little bit more information as German investigators are also continuing to search for a man suspected of driving a van into a crowd near Berlin's Pride Festival. One person died, several others were injured before apparently stabbing others with a machete. And as we were just sharing with you, Germany's interior minister.
So DB, we have the story on that in regards to Seattle and the Space Needle attack, all that stuff. Unfortunately, they have not let out the identity yet. And I keep looking it up as well on my side, and they have not released the identity yet. Now they do have a person in custody, but they haven't released the identity, and I'm sure there's a reason for that, right? Shit.
Says that they believe this is Islamic extremist terror right here. So authorities are issuing a wanted notice. They're warning people against approaching this suspect, who is a German citizen with Lebanese roots. They say he may be armed and also dangerous. So this is a live look right here from the scene. As you can see, there continues to be a very heavy law enforcement presence as they continue to investigate this right now.
Yeah, the problem with that, Charlie, is when it comes from not a reliable source, we can't use it. You know what I mean? Like people just posting and showing that this is the guy. Well, who's going to be able to confirm that? You know what I mean? I'm sure that the identity is out there. I'm sure that you guys can look it up, but I can't present that as facts yet. You know,
the interior minister says the total number of wounded is 29 individuals. This attack occurred just a few hundred yards from a party that was supposed to close out the city's Pride Parade. So a lot of people attended this to support the LGBTQ plus community, and people are continuing to react. So we're hearing more from the Interior Ministry there in Germany, saying that the suspect had come to authorities.
Hey, Aaron, little something for you. By the way, I don't need to do shit. I'm doing just fine without your ass. Don't need you or your input, by the way. Listen, you're on that side of the screen, homeboy. You're watching me. Listen, all my research, actually, I'm invested all the way through. I mean, every layer that you can think of, even down to Iranian state TV telegroups, so that I get direct information that's going on in the war with Iran. You know what I mean? For instance, tell me your sources, bitch.
Attention in the past because of previous crimes. Now, he didn't give details about what those exact crimes were, but he also said that there has been radicalization and belonging to the Islamic scene in the German capital. So he's saying that the suspect was born in Germany. His mother was naturalized 3 years.
That's hilarious. If you guys actually, anybody that's watched me for longer than a minute knows that I am pro only. I mean, literally, I only look at this as America only. Everything that we do has to benefit Americans first. And I mean that wholeheartedly.
Before
everything we do needs to be that way.
He had been convicted in Berlin in the past. That's according to the Interior Minister. He didn't go into specifics for what that conviction was, but said that the suspect had been given a suspended sentence of 1 year and 10 months. So this continues to be a very active investigation as they are continuing to.
Here, I got some for the bullshitters in the chat. You know what I mean? I got something.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Shit.
Search for that suspect. They also have been searching an apartment. Police said that they. All right, and so we are following this breaking news, and this just in right here. This is from Fox News saying that German authorities say that the suspect
I love how dense motherfuckers go. That means you're an isolationist now. That means that you're not going to buy anything from anybody. You fucking dense morons. You guys are hilarious. Of course, it means that we're, of course, going to need to get stuff from around the world. Of course. But it needs to be with the, it needs to come from the place of it's going to only benefit us if we're going to do it, whether it be a trade, whether it be anything. Yes, of course, we live on the globe. We have to make deals and shit like that all the time. But that doesn't mean that we can't come from the ideology of America only, being that we're going to make sure that every decision that we make is for the betterment of our people here.
Been identified. We see the photo right there. A 21-year-old Abdul Balaud, allegedly having ties to Germany's Islamic scene. As we were just sharing with you, one person was killed in this attack. At least 29 other people were injured.
Damn.
All of this at Berlin.
Now, I saw this identity be released yesterday. I saw this. And I thought it was interesting that they would allow this identity to come out. And then, unfortunately, they haven't. They're being stingy on the topic of the whole thing that happened over there in Seattle, which is unfortunate. I don't know why they're being stingy with it. Anyways, this is a very, very sad deal here. So identified as 21-year-old Abdul Balaud, allegedly had ties to Germany's Islamic scene. One person was killed and at least 29 others were injured. Sad fucking state of affairs right there. All right, let's go ahead and move on. We have to. We still got a lot to cover, and we're already 5 minutes into overtime right now. We're already 5 minutes into OT. So you know what they say about overtime? No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Send in your freaking money. All right, here we go. Let's bring up this whole new detail in regards to a Bronx shooting. Suspect kills 12-year-old outside a bodega. Damn it, man. Let me read this. It says New York detectives arrested the suspect in the Bronx shooting that left a 12-year-old dead and 2 men hurt late Saturday afternoon. Wow.
We are continuing to follow some breaking news out of New York City as NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch has just shared this update stating that detectives have made an arrest in the murder of a 12-year-old boy as well as the shooting of 2 others in the Mount Eden neighborhood of the Bronx. All of this taking place near a bodega there. For more on this, I do want to bring in Fox 5 New York's Lisa Evers, who has been following the very latest developments. And Lisa, you know, we were just getting this news from Commissioner Tisch. What can you share with us in regards to this arrest?
Well, this was a very fast arrest, even by NYPD detective standards. They're very quick in making arrests in a lot of the cases, fortunately, of crime here in New York City. But this all, let's just take a look at how this happened. This was about 5 o'clock, just before 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, Saturday afternoon.
So Saturday.
In New York City, this 12-year-old boy, the victim, Jacob Frades.
Because this came out yesterday,
is
obviously.
on his bicycle in his neighborhood, going to the bodega to get something. And on the way in, he goes and gets what he's getting. He comes out. He sees a fight taking place.
What's up, Sabi?
Between 2 groups of grown men. We see the suspect himself is 45 years old, and he watches it for a moment or two, and then the bullets start flying. He catches a bullet hits him, a stray bullet. He was an innocent bystander, according to.
By the way, I would have saw it without you doing all caps, but yes, I do. Listen, man, everything that Mamdani does is, I mean, mind-blowing to me.
What police are telling me. And he runs back into the bodega. And unfortunately, he did not survive that injury. And it just is such a tragic thing to so many people here because once again.
What's up, brother Kurt? Good morning to you, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying the start to your week. I definitely know that we are over here.
Again, we're seeing a gun victim.
Let's get the likes up, everybody.
Victim who is a child. And he's doing something that a lot of kids, you know, hundreds and actually thousands of kids in New York City and around the country would be doing on a Saturday in the summer when they're not in school and on the weekend, going to the store to get something, going to the neighborhood store to get something, and then this unfortunate violence in broad.
To answer this, mind-blowing in a good way or a bad way? In an absolute fucking terrible way. I can't believe he gets away with what he does get away with.
Daylight opens up, and this time around, it's not.
I can't believe he's in office.
It's not teens firing, it's grown men. The suspect, according to the police commissioner, Mr. Ferrer, is 45 years old. You just read those. That's basically what you would call throwing the book at this individual. And I looked at the video, which we're not showing due to some of the graphic nature of it and disturbing nature, and also because this video.
You guys are lame with that shit. Lame stream media.
Was released.
Show the video.
We're not sure it had the approval of his family. We don't want to add to their pain at this particular time. But Jacob is there. He's on his bike. He got whatever he was going in there to buy. And some people are saying it was a ball so that he could play ball, and which a lot of bodegas sell balls like that.
I guess it's going to be very difficult when it's a 12-year-old, you know. So unfortunately, this is what it says. Cop's son, 12, ID'd after being shot dead in New York City, as harrowing video shows victim running into bodega clutching his chest. Wow, fuck, man. 12-year-old kid. And it was a cop's son too. Incredible.
And that he is you know, that he was standing there for just a moment or two. These two groups of grown men start going at it with each other. There's a fight, and basically everything on the street, that particular block in the Mount Eden section of the Bronx, of the South Bronx, it's at a standstill, and people are watching. And then moments later, the guns come out, and he ends up being shot. So it's just this type of random gun violence that now a family is destroyed. Just think about this. There are these circles of trauma now that are around this particular incident, the murder of this innocent child. And all of his classmates, all of the kids, the brothers and sisters of his classmates, all the kids who knew him, the people in the community who are just devastated seeing this young life taken for no reason, absolutely no reason at all.
Well, that's what I've been waiting for her to get to, is what was the reason for the guy shooting off in the first place? Did he mean to actually kill that 12? Like, he just pulled out a firearm and just killed that kid out of nowhere for no reason?
And it's to the credit of the NYPD detectives for them to be able to track this individual down that quickly to bring him into custody. There's plenty.
Well, we get that. Let's see if there's any other breaking during this time when they were breaking it. If they brought up any other posts about this, they did not, unfortunately. Damn it. So as detail emerge, of course, we're going to be bringing that up. So let me go ahead and bring this up. We're trying to get now into the whole deal with Seattle. This is going to be an ordeal. Because they're withholding the identity of the person. So when you do that, it starts looking very, suspect, right? So let's go ahead and bring this up first. 2 dead, 5 injured after shooting near Seattle Space Needle. Go ahead, go.
I'm Shauna Kalafi. We have a sad update to the breaking news that we've been following out of Seattle. We've now learned at least 2 people were killed and 5 others injured in a mass shooting at the Seattle Center. This happened during the Bite of Seattle Food Festival, where thousands of people were attending. And according to our partners at Fox 13 in Seattle, they say, according to Seattle Fire Department, 2 people have died, 5 others were injured, including a 2-year-old boy. Paramedics say all victims are in stable condition, apart from a 56-year-old woman who is in serious condition. We also have a live look outside of the trauma center there. Again, we are learning 2 people have been killed, at least 5 others injured after a shooting this afternoon at the Bite of Seattle Food Festival held at the Seattle Center. Police still on the scene there investigating this shooting. We also have this from Seattle police saying police are investigating shots fired at the Seattle Center, multiple shooting victims, and we have now learned 2 people are dead, at least 5 others injured. And another live look at the scene right now. There is still a large police presence there. The police have shut down.
I'm sure exactly what she was getting right there is, I'm sure they shut down the entire fucking area, of course.
The Seattle Center grounds as they investigate this shooting that happened during the Bite of Seattle Food Festival event. Again, 2 people killed, at least 5 others injured.
Now, this happened yesterday, by the way.
One of them in serious condition, a 56-year-old woman in the hospital right now. And we did get some remarks from witnesses on the ground, Fox 13, with these interviews of what they experienced this afternoon.
Like, it was a bunch of pops that almost sounded like fireworks, and then like a couple single ones, and then suddenly like there were birds that flew, and then like everybody started spinning out. Yeah, like it was like a wave of people started flying out.
It went from sounds, and then once the crowd started moving, like you could tell there was an active danger, I would say. It was like, and then a friend of mine actually.
Damn, that motherfucker's saying he's spraying out.
For the center, and he came down and said that there was an older woman that was unresponsive and down, and unfortunately, and so we took cover in the booth as long, and then when it was safe, we.
So, Greg, the way it happens is so unfortunately what happens is when a tariff is imposed on a company, let's say outside the United States, the company has to directly pay that tariff, right? Well, what the company ends up doing is they raise the price of their product to compensate for that tariff. So when somebody in the United States is paying for that product or whatever that is being imported here, that's been tariffed, it tariffs on their side, but they bring up the price and the compensation is handed down to us as the consumer. So that's to let you know how tariffs work.
Got down, body everywhere. I mean, I counted 8. The officer that was talking on the walkie-talkie.
I am allowed in Canada, believe it or not, Kurt. I've got my passport and everything.
They're saying we got 8 victims shot. They were doing CPR on one of them. I think it was a male. I believe it was a male victim. The one that I saw, another one was a female. Another was a male on the grass.
Yeah, you are a fucking idiot. Yes, of course they're going to pay the tariff, but no company, let's say they have a product for $100 before any tariffs. And then now all of a sudden there's a new tariff that comes on them. Do you think they're going to keep their product at $100, you moron? Of course not. They're going to compensate for that tariff. So if they have to pay for that, they knock it down to the consumer to pay for that tariff by raising the price to, let's say, $120 now. So instead of what I was buying for $100, I'm now paying $120 for as the consumer. So that's how it's paid off. I can't believe you guys are that dense, bro.
He got shot in the leg, I believe.
And
like, how do you remember
some of the video from the scene there this afternoon? The shots fired reported around 6:30 p.m. local time there in Seattle. Again, this happened during the Bite of Seattle Food Festival at the Seattle Center. There were thousands of people attending. We just heard from some of those witnesses, and now a live look outside of the hospital there as we are now learning 2 people are dead, at least 5 others injured in this shooting, including a...
So unfortunately, they don't have any other information during this breaking report, but this is one of the latest when they came out and they were asked all these questions. I mean, this was late last night, and they still didn't give out the identity. But let's go and figure out what they're saying here. They're going to be questioned, I'm sure. We're not going to play this whole thing either. We're going to have to skim through a little bit because we still even have an update on this whole story that I've been looking through on the media side.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience as we've been working to make sure that we can provide accurate information. I'm sorry that we're having to gather here tonight under these tragic circumstances. What happened here today at the Seattle Center was an unbelievable tragedy, and a horrific act of violence. My heart right now is with the victims and their families and with everyone in our community who is reeling from what happened here today. We have far too much gun violence in this city and in this country. And we're coming off of a week in Seattle where we've had 3 major incidents of gun violence in just a few days. We have a lot of work to do as a city and as a country to make this better.
I get your passion, Mayor, but we need to know what happened tonight, please.
Yes. So our focus right now is with this investigation, with learning what happened so that we can provide accurate information to the public, with supporting the victims. And
now, originally, I guess they came out and said that there was 2 people that were in custody, and then they had to come back out and say, no, unfortunately, we were wrong about that. We got 1 person in custody, and we have now a manhunt, police search for the 2nd suspect after the Seattle bloodshed. Interesting.
I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Chief Tyrone Davis to tell you what we know.
So this afternoon, we had officers working our Bite of Seattle event. At 6:01 p.m., gunshots were heard. We had officers in the area, in the immediate area, when these gunshots went off. Officers responded and addressed one of the shooters. That person gave up and was taken into custody. There was another person that we believe that was also involved that fled the scene, and officers began an active search for that person. We discovered as we got to the scene that there were a total of 7 victims that suffered gunshot wounds at the scene. Officers immediately began to perform CPR.
What's up, Josh Phillips, my man, Alabama's finest, by the way. Hell no, I definitely would not want to be president. That's I do not have the aspirations to be president.
First aid
but thank
on
you for
several
that.
victims. We had a total of 4 victims that were transported by the Seattle Fire Department to Harborview Medical Center. We had another two more victims that remained on the scene and were unfortunately unable to survive their injuries. So that's a total of 7 victims. We had another victim that later showed up at the University of Washington Medical Center with also a gunshot wound. One of the victims at Harborview Medical Center did not survive their injuries. So now we have a total of 3 fatalities out of those 7 victims. This is a tragedy.
By the way, you don't have to like the video for all the craziness that we've been presenting this morning. But listen, guys, do me a favor. We have well over 200 people in here between both the live streams. Make sure you guys get the likes up. Let's hit the like button. Double tap that screen on the vertical side. Appreciate you guys.
I'm really sorry that this happened. The Bite of Seattle is a very positive event. We haven't had any issue in recent years. And, thankfully we had officers on the scene that were brave, went to those shots and prevented more victims from being injured. This is going to be an ongoing investigation. We're going to be out here for several hours trying to figure out exactly what happened tonight. Right now, we believe that we have no outstanding threat to the community. We do have one suspect that is being interviewed. We've recovered 2 guns. It's one thing to
So let us know what the suspect is and who he is. I don't understand why they just dance around so fucking hard on not telling anybody the guy and his motives. Why?
know one of the 4 victims that was taken to the hospital was a toddler.
Damn.
Again, this is a terrible, terrible event.
Toddler.
All 4 victims that are been hospitalized are in stable condition. And again, we're going to be out here for several hours trying to figure out what happened tonight.
It says right here, a shooting killed 3 people and wounded 4 others, including a child, during a food festival at the Seattle Center Sunday evening. 2 people died at the scene, while a third died after being taken to the hospital, according to an official update from the investigators. Police say that 1 suspect was detained and 2 weapons were recovered at the scene. The shooting occurred at an annual festival called the Bite of Seattle.
We have a number of agencies that are here to support us with our criminal investigation, and it's ongoing. We're not going to have a lot of information to share at this time, but we will have more information for everyone in the coming hours.
So you only have 1 shooter in custody?
We have 1 shooter in custody at this time.
Anyone else outstanding?
We believe there is 1 outstanding. That is part of our investigation.
What's up, Mr. My man? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat. Always appreciate you. Hopefully you're having a great start to your week.
We are still trying to gather more information.
So this was a shootout?
I do not have a suspect description for you at this time.
So this was a shootout in Seattle?
There were 2 people who we believe were shooting at each other. We are still working on that. We'll have more information for you.
Were there surveillance cameras in the area, or any of those city-operated surveillance cameras?
There were no surveillance cameras in the immediate area where the shooting occurred. Not at this time.
How old is your suspect in custody right now?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm not able to disclose that at the time.
I'm not able to disclose, not even the age. You're not able to disclose that. That's some bullshit. All right. So unfortunately, the only big news outlet that I see right now that actually has some sort of report on this, aside from CNN, they did put out one 4 hours ago. They said Seattle shooting, ex-FBI agent breaks down suspect manhunt. But I don't need to do that. I want just the report on this. So Fox happens to be the one that does this. Now, I to be honest, I fucking hate these guys, but whatever.
Out of Seattle, 3 people dead, at least 4 others hurt, including a 2-year-old.
What I like is Live Now. Live Now is way more like what they're just telling you what's happening. A lot of these other outlets, including Fox, and whether it be left or right, they always got to have their own fucking spin to it, and which I don't appreciate. I just want the facts. What is actually happening, right?
After a shooting at the Seattle Center, all during an annual food festival. Police say 1 suspect's in custody while a manhunt is underway for a 2nd alleged gunman. And officials are praising officers for their quick response on scene.
Gunshots were heard. We had
Shit, I got you, Josh.
officers in the area, in the immediate area when these gunshots went off. Officers responded and addressed one of the shooters. That person gave up and was taken into custody. There was another person that we believe that was also involved that fled the scene, and officers began an active search for that person.
Joining us now to discuss this is retired FBI agent Jason Pack. Jason, thanks for coming on this morning.
So it looks like they got this guy on CNN, and he also came in on Fox. And I really don't care about his opinion, to be quite honest. I'd rather just get more reports. But unfortunately, there is a lack of reports. So that's why you get a whole bunch of quote unquote analysts, retired Marine, whatever. You get a whole bunch of retired FBI guys or whatever that want to talk about the case. Like, come on, man.
You know, you say this wasn't an attack on the crowd, that these were just innocent bystanders. It was 2 different parties shooting at one another, you know, but this was an attack on the crowd, you know, indirectly.
And now we're seeing at least a little bit of video on the ground. Thank you.
A 2-year-old boy is dead because of this. And my question, it's not about the motive.
Damn.
Obviously, we don't know any of that right now. But my question is, how can people go to these events nowadays and feel safe? I know in New York City, they have a magnetometer system and they only have a few access points.
Yeah. How do you go to somewhere and feel safe? I hate to break it to everybody, but you're never safe. You know what I mean? Act accordingly.
Where people can get in to make it safer. I mean, but what can the rest of the country do? Because this is awful.
It is awful.
It is awful, and certainly our hearts go out to...
We're not talking about what ought be. We're not talking about how this should never happen. Of course it shouldn't. but we're talking about what is. We live in reality.
The victims' families, and we're praying for a full recovery for those other folks in the hospital, Ashley and Todd. But the bottom line is you can secure a perimeter, but it's hard to secure a grudge. And so going to these festivals, these days, you have to kind of look over your shoulder a little bit, unfortunately. But we don't want to let the folks who prescribe to violence win. We want to be able to go out, live our lives, and do these.
Hell no. Nowhere safe outside. Listen, it don't matter what race it is. It don't matter what. You've got people that are on drugs. You got people that are drinking. You got people that are off their fucking rockers. You got people that are mentally unwell. That comes in every race, creed, size. It doesn't matter.
Things with our families. This was a pretty popular festival for when I've heard over 250,000 people over the days that it was supposed to be there. So these things are just really, really horrific. And it's very interesting that already the Seattle police have done quite a bit of work, and it's not even 12 hours old yet. They say at that press conference you heard Assistant Chief Davis say they don't have video of the act.
It's always possible. But the reason why I would think that it's not a white person is because if it was a white person, it would be all over the news already. They're withholding the information for a certain reason. And being that it's coming from Seattle, which is also known as a sanctuary city, it makes you think that there's a different reason or a different person than a white person, right?
Actual shooting, but
media loves to show off white people that done something wrong.
The suspect fled into a crowd of tens of thousands of people. So there's a 70-acre crime scene there with video that the police need. And it seems like a lot of folks may not be stepping forward to share that video, even if you don't have the actual shooting on it. I think police could definitely use to hear from you or want to hear from you that way.
And, Jason, I want to correct myself. The toddler, I believe, is injured regardless. He didn't die. He is injured regardless. This is something he's going to have to deal with the rest of his life.
Yes, and W, by the way, Greg, appreciate you joining with the Insane Wheels family, man.
Yeah, and picking it up where Ashley left off, officers, to your point, both of your points, were already posted at the event. Doesn't this really underscore the need? Anytime you have what I would argue is a small to big gathering, that you need to have some kind of law enforcement presence there because it shortens the time.
L take. I think that instead of a more law enforcement, I think that people should just carry firearms. That's what I think. The more people that are carrying, the more people that are going to be polite. I mean, it's just the way it is. We got Raspberry Hedgehog coming in with the 2 jewels, by the way, with the Silver Star. Appreciate that. Thank you for showing a little love in the chat. Appreciate that. All right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps us up for the morning. We're caught up in current time. Listen, we are almost 30 minutes into overtime. I can't thank you, each and every single one of you guys, enough. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out, double tap that screen, and hit that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And of course, we have members only on Saturday morning where we don't talk about any of this shit. You know what I mean? And by the way, Raspberry Hedgehog, appreciate the more 2 jewels. Making some sparkles in the chat, I guess. Appreciate that. All right, you guys have a wonderful and fantastic start of your week. Always appreciate you guys. We'll be back here tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness. Until then, God bless you guys and be safe out there. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul, with a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on 2 wheels, ready to claim his throne amidst the chaos and